as we know, Nacht is in a very dangerous position right now with Nama and Lilith. And I like that there was a comment that it's a few minutes before Noelle and her whole crew arrive, because there was a comment that Luck had that a lot of people have taken notice of when he says that there was a person inside of the castle that they absolutely do not want to mess with. And there are two ways that it's going. There's the way that I would like, which would be if it's actually Dante, maybe Dante is putting up a better showing after getting 100%, because we already know Dante was crazy even at 80%. But the more likely one that a lot of people have been going with is that Nama and Lilith can fuse, because their designs have this, like mirrored kind of symmetry, that, well, not exact symmetry, but it looks like they're kind of like two halves in a way. Like where their designs are split, the other one has it on the opposite end. And it's a theory that a lot of people have had, and I like it, because the thing about the first gate having the two devils come out is that I personally think that the devil in there should be obviously more powerful than where the Dark Triad were. I'm giving it 80%. I personally don't know about what Dante's case at 100%, because like the thing about him that's different is he has Lucifero's powers versus like where Xenon and Vonica are at, because like these guys are high ranking devils. But even if Dante obviously is human with devil powers, he still is getting his devil powers from the top devil. So he's like a weird variable in strength when we look at the like all these high ranking devils that are coming out. But he could easily surprise us, because it's not just the fact that he, is powerful. He has access to crazy spells that Lucifero will have. Like, Luciferos are obviously going to be, like, way crazier in power. But it's like, something like Singularity is, it's such a good hacks move that, like, I don't know if these devils would be able to, like, get hit with it and regenerate or what. Like, they could just get erased. Like, it's a magic black hole. So, see on that matter. But with these two devils, I personally, and I've been saying it for a while, this is my take, is that they individually aren't as powerful, but it's like they fuse together to create like the more powerful person. Because if say like every other gate is one devil coming out, if these guys just each were as powerful as like any of these hyped up characters, it'd be like, well, the first gate is going to be way worse than the other ones, and their elements, like they have fire and ice, but we don't know what like the variation of it is. We don't know if it's there's something special that is an extra trait put onto it, because that's more than likely the scenario as well, because it is an element used by a devil, it's magic from a devil, so they're gonna have a crazy aversion. I mean, look at something like Petra going from light to demon light. Like, it is a easy jump to say that they just has a crazy extra version of whatever these elements are, and it would be weird if they just had the versions. If say like they're just fire and ice, but they're like so powerful and so potent, maybe that they're like they put any other fire and ice user in Black Clover completely to shame. That'd be one thing, but I feel like it would just be really odd if they didn't have some extra perk to it. But who knows? Maybe it's like they're playing just really more powerful versions in the state, but if they fuse is like where it draws out their actual danger. I don't know. But as of right now, I personally think that they individually aren't as big of a deal. And I was thinking, like, they should get them separated, because if say, they have, fight better together and they're able to be stronger as a duo, or in the case of eventual fusion, then you'd want to separate them. And I was really happy in this chapter at the near the end when Nacht was like answering why he didn't run away, because that was one of the things that I was wondering when I saw like the spoilers when they're coming. It's like, why doesn't he just teleport them somewhere and then teleport back, and then like kind of focus more on like things that's like the bigger picture, rather than having like a honorable fight with these guys? Because like, if I was Noct, like, I really want to know the extent of his shadow teleportation, because it's like, could he just could he go somewhere similar to like how Finral has to either see where he's teleporting to, or have been there, like, and what I think he said to like marked it, but I think it's just like he kind of like scoped it out, and I don't know if that he recognizes it and kind of is familiar with it. But like, what if Noct went and just kind of like took a boat, like, I don't know, 50 miles out in the middle of the ocean, kind of did whatever he needed to have that location like on tap for his shadow teleportation, and then teleported them there, and then teleported back. That was my thing of like, why doesn't he just do that? Because then he could just get people the hell out of there and then focus on stopping the tree from being open in the gateway and stuff. But he wants to deal with these guys. What were his exact words? I'm gonna scroll down and look at the exact what he says. He says, "The fact that I can't forgive you for your unjust evil is why I'm alive." So it's way more of a personal thing, and like we're seeing the flashback with him, and we're finding out information about him and his brother. So it is something way more personal to the core of his character. So it makes sense of why he would do it. It's not the best solution, like I said. If he played it more kind of cheap, that'd be one thing. But it doesn't seem to be who he is. And I really want to know what his overall plan is, because when he says, like, when he's talking to the cat, when he says "die with me," I still think that he has some form of scheme in that. I know a lot of people are coming up with like the idea of like a 9 lives kind of thing. But I'm wondering, like, what exactly that would entail, too, because I don't think it would be like Rouge, where it's like he would die and it would, reverse something. My guess is it'd be something like he ends up dying and, like, he would kind of, like, almost kind of respawn in a location, but it wouldn't do anything like a turn back time, because that would be too much, I think, for him to have if he has all this on top of something that crazy, almost like a 1-up power. But... well, it'd be more like a save point rather than 1-up power. 1-up power would be fine, because it'd be like if he just is tricking them to buy them time and then dies and then goes back, that'd be actually really smart for him. But we'll see exactly how it goes, because when they say like it's a few minutes beforehand, but like the previous chapter ended with him like all strung up and he's got all these ice spikes in him and stuff, and he's just not looking good. It makes me wonder, like, what exactly is going to be the plan for his character for the setup? Like, if he's like outright just in a horrible situation where he's going to lose, it's like, well, is somebody going to come save him, or like where is he going to go after this? Like, he's just in a spot right now where I'm so curious as to where the next steps for him are going to go, because like we're still really early in this. This is the first gate. We don't know how many gates are going to open, like in total. Is it going to be all of them? Is it going to be half of them? I still really like the idea of like most of them getting opened, and maybe like 1 or the 2 devils escape, and then it kind of like opens up into like their plan further, like if they're gonna look for a way to open the gates back up, or maybe there's a different method they have to discover. I don't really know, but it really opens up again a lot of questions just in the future of these events, because the fact that it's going so like sudden of like I said, with Morris rapidly increasing the time on the gate was such a curveball into the situation. It had such a question of like how things are going. Because if it was opening at a normal time, it'd be like, okay, well if they defeat these guys within a certain amount of time, and then they could kind of pull back, heal up, do whatever if they really need to. But it's like they don't have that time. We don't know like how much Morris has increased the timer. We don't know if it's like 4 times, 10 times, whatever it is, but it's a problem. And though I like that Nacht is dealing with these two the best he can, I really think that he should go and deal with Morris, because Morris is the biggest thing right now. He talks about like let me find. He's like talking about dealing with the Dark Triad and dealing with these 2 devils, but in reality they should be secondary right now. The Dark Triad, the devils, they absolutely should not be priority, because the thing is, say that they focused on them immediately. Like, they somehow managed to defeat Lilith and Nama. Who knows what's going on with Dark Triad and whatnot. But I don't really see them taking the Dark Triad down right now. Because, like, the thing is, they're in situations where there's not going to have any characters really that dangerous against them. And someone like Dante, where he's borderline immortal, if you don't have a way to deal with his body magic. If you don't have a way to cancel out his body magic through any form of I can stop this magic, whether it's anti-magic or even like if you have something like Marileona who can burn magic, or like any character that could figure out a way to stop the body magic regeneration. Outside of that, like Dante is pretty much immortal, so he's already like a really hard case. And then similar to Vonica, and Vonica's a little different because like she uses blood, so it's like her bleeding isn't nearly as bad as like with a normal person. And I imagine stuff like stopping blood, blood loss would be easy for her, as well as like with Xenon. Xenon, like legitimately, if he really wanted to, could just keep teleporting around and just play keep away. But with that, the big thing is Morris. Because say that they manage to somehow they manage to take down Lilith and Nama. Like, say they somehow do it. And it's like, okay, we just did all this work to get them, and then immediately another gate opens up and another devil comes out. Whereas, like, if they take Morris out, they are stuck at the regular speed, and they have like a solid day until another gate opens up. It's just such a easy priority thing when you look at it, but like for them, they don't know the level, obviously, of speed that Morris is able to do, like the increased opening of the gate with, and he's such a wild card that they don't really know. Like they wouldn't really know like how exactly to deal with them, and Nacht is the only one that knows about like him doing stuff. So I really am hoping that he's actually scheming something with Lilith and Nama, and that he's like his actual priorities are Morris. Because again, Morris is the biggest problem right now. With Morris up, everything can escalate into such a way worse thing. Like, just kind of imagine it like let's imagine it like if somebody was juggling. And it's like somebody can like, okay, I can juggle normally with 3 balls. You throw a 4th one in there, and it's like, hey, every few minutes I'm gonna add another one. And it's like I can juggle up to 10, but I need the time. Versus like instead of like every minute or so you add another one, it's like you change it to every 5 seconds. You were just chucking them at this guy. It's like you would just get overwhelmed, and it would you'd fail, and he would drop the ball, and it wouldn't work. Whereas like what Morris is in this situation is getting rid of that crazy fast, like just rush of events that can happen. So I'm really hoping Nacht is able to do it, or like maybe if Nacht isn't going there, if he could just like say if Nacht just got the information to the other characters, that would be a really good way too. Like if he kept Lilith and Nama out of the scenario, but he sent one of his devils with information to like Noel's group and stuff, and just said, hey, this guy Morris is the problem. Go like on the lower areas of the castle and take them out, or we're screwed. Something like that would also really work. But I guess like the problem for me is just that like Nacht is the only one that knows about Morris, and Morris is such a big problem. He's such a big wrench in the plan that he has to be taken out. Because he's the sole character right now that if he's not taken out, they lose. Because, like I said, with the gradual opening, they have time to recover. They have time to regroup. They have the general amount of time to actually deal with stuff, even if it would get slowly more difficult. And, obviously, that they can't just fully recover everything within a day. They have healing people and stuff, but obviously the healing people are limited on mana and stuff. You would need a lot of just joint factors, like all over the place, to just get them fully fixed up every day. But even if you got them fully fixed up every day, that doesn't instantly mean that they're going to be able to just stop each devil that comes out of the gates like just as easy as the last one. They should get progressively harder and harder and harder. And even though we've only really seen a couple devils outside of Lilith and Nama, and again, not talking about if they do fuse and whatever their magic would be with them, the other devils have had very dangerous magic. Like Zagreus had he had Word Soul magic, which a lot of people still believe is like the most broken magic in Black Clover. Like it's legitimately like it comes down entirely to the user and how much mana they have, because it's such a versatile magic that you can do like almost anything. Like there's obviously limitations to it, but it's like it really just comes down to how smart, quick-witted you are and stuff. And then obviously like how much mana you have, but Zagreus obviously being the devil had a ton of it. And then you have like Lucifero gravity magic. I don't need to go much into that after like seeing the Dante fight both the manga and the anime. Curse magic, spatial magic to the degree that he can just say nope to other spatial magic people and fuck with people's mana concentration. Like they're very dangerous, and I assume that every single time a devil comes out, they're gonna have crazy magic. Like it'd be weird if they all have just like elements. That's one of the reasons I think Lilith and Nama like fusing is gonna like be like a really for sure thing, is their magic is so plain right now. Like granted, like I said, I think that they're gonna have like a better version of just fire and ice, but it's still really normal. And I feel like if they fuse, they'll get something like really crazy. I would love like a steam-based person and like steam explosions, which would be ridiculous. And you'd be able to have probably like illusions or something, or just like outright making like a giant steam layer, and it would just make it so you have trouble seeing, hearing, breathing. It would just be pain. And like it's really crazy when you actually look into like how dangerous steam is, like to high levels. You just completely melt your skin from just a freaking cloud. But I like Jack getting up. I was very happy about that. I like Jack getting up was it was a plus, but I don't I don't see him doing anything to Dante because he's like in shambles from Dante's just like hello once he got 100%. Dante didn't do anything crazy to Jack to put him in this state. He literally just kind of like grabbed him and pulled him over and started wailing on him. Like Dante's was just in his flex. He's just getting stretch of 100%. Like he's just getting happier and happier. He hasn't even used his body magic yet. That's one of the big things about him as well. Dante's body magic, though his gravity magic is very powerful, his body magic is what makes him the bigger threat. Because, like I said, immortality, pretty much. Borderline immortality with his magic. Which is huge. Because, like, with his... Think about the fight with Yami. If he didn't have the immortality, he would have lost what was, like, the Eye Slash, and even if not, Death Thrust. Like, it wasn't that big of a fight until he started using his body magic, and he's really started to flex and become, like, a big threat. Before that, he was powerful, but it wasn't like he didn't have that, like, big, close to unbeatable kind of feel with him that, you know, a lot, like, big people like him should have. But after that point, we do see the fourth form for Nacht. He's got, like, this cool witch doctor set to him. I think it's really cool. Personally, I would go with his callus form as my favorite. I do really like the witch doctor mask, but I like the sick, sleek look that his callus one has with his cat. I think that one's really cool. But I can easily see why a lot of people would probably pick this one as the favorite. He's got the wings. He's got like the sick top hat. He's got the witch doctor mask and the claws. He's got a really cool tail in his form too. It's like a really simple one with just like it's got 4 feathers and stuff. And like the shoes actually look really cool too. Now that I think about it. But he uses the characteristic of it, call, which I'm wondering if it was specifically just kind of like freezing them for a moment, because they even talk about that, like they just pretty much stopped. You know, it was like a sound thing, they couldn't move. Kind of like what was it, Jiraiya's frog song, where it's like it's not like a big crazy ability, but it's a great combo ability, because it, you know, if you can freeze your opponent for a second or two, that gives you a huge opening to do something. And in Nox's case, he used his shadows to pull him down. But I'm wondering if when he said call, if it wasn't just the sound thing, or if it's like call and he's like calling them to a different location, essentially. But then he uses his dark prison hunting ground, and the devils can't see. They're just kind of like deciding to, you know, let loose, but they're not yet. They're starting. They said they're just going gradual. They're not fighting that seriously yet. They're just kind of like having fun, and they're putting out these huge like weird streams. Like they're like tendrils of their elements, and Nacht is just trying not to get hit by them. I would say with Nacht is like he goes into his was it Eki's form or whatever, with the donkey or bull or whatever you want to go with it, but that one for me, I was like, Nacht, that was a bad idea. Like, up until that point, he's doing some good moves, but I'm like, I don't think, like, a big kick is going to do anything to these devils, man. And it's like, they go through, I think Nama's the fire one, I believe, because Lilith having, like, ties to the demon Lilith, I would assume. Like, I know I could go back and look, but I'm just trying to use like my memory plus like process of easy elimination of just like the logic behind it. So like Nama, the kick goes through him, and he's made of fire. So he's, you know, they've got general intangibility with their power. So I'm wondering if the heart thing is a Zagrid thing. Like they have their own variations maybe of immortality, or like why they're hard to kill. Like, maybe instead of these guys having their hearts, it's like they are, like, elemental intangible. To where you would have to figure out a way to kind of, like, deal with their elements rather than destroy their heart. Which would be really cool. I like the idea of them all having, like, a slight variation to how they're borderline unkillable. And it is really cool, just the addition of it, because it adds, like, an extra level of danger to them. Because, like, with these guys, you know, if in Nox's case, he kicks him, you know, the foot goes right through, and now his foot is in demon fire, so he's in a bad spot. Like a normal person, you imagine a normal person like going and attacking him. Granted, most people in Black Clover are more ranged rather than close combat people, but like putting any form of limb through this guy or any of these guys is going to be dangerous. I'd actually assume like Lilith's is more dangerous, because like with Nama, like you're kicking through fire, you could get burns, but with Lilith, it would freeze and you'd be stuck. Like, you'd just be stuck there, and then she would just completely just beat the hell out of you. But we end up getting a flashback. We find out a little bit about Nacht. A lot of people assumed the twin thing. I'm one of the people, like, I assumed that, the whole Nacht brother twin thing was an easy thing to figure out. I did not suspect that Nacht was the light-haired one. Like, I didn't think that at all. I figured Nacht would be the black-haired one, but it actually, like, really makes sense when you think about, like, where it could lead with his brother. Because when we go back to the mansion that was destroyed, there was that picture that had one of the brothers, like, completely smeared out. And I was thinking, like, it had to do with, something that the events that happened to his brother. But I think it's more of Nacht erasing himself out of there and probably blaming himself for what happened to his brother. That's probably why when he joined the Magic Knights, joined with Yami, dyed his hair to look like his brother and stuff, probably, like, started to get crazy with the whole devil contracts and, well, devil binding rituals and stuff, and getting devil powers and whatever lengths he had to go through is probably, my guess, combine that and, like, the level of severity that you'd have to kind of, like, put up to get to those kind of things. Like, again, 4 devils, like, how dangerous his missions were and stuff, and the level of self-sacrifice that he's clearly willing to do. And then you combine that with him, like, again, smearing out his own image on that picture and making himself look like his brother, is he probably has a degree of self-blame for it. Like, I know he hates Yami for it, but I would willing to bet that he'll have one of those things in his head of, like, if I, had listened to him, like, I could have been there, done something, maybe helped him and prevented his death. Because, like, Nacht clearly still, like, he's definitely, like, when we see, like, his description and stuff, his backstory, that at the time of he was a delinquent, he was a scoundrel, like, he just didn't care, he was a troublemaker and a clear bad apple, where his brother was, like, all, the opposite characteristics, a really good guy, loved by many and stuff. But clearly him and his brother got along, and I'd be willing to bet that he still loved his brother, and he was like, it won't surprise me if he's like, my brother was the only person that I actually liked. So, the one person, assuming that he, I don't even think I need to assume, it's very clear that he got along with his brother, but with Morgan dying, like, I would imagine it's a very easy, like, connection point to see, like, if he blames himself for it, like, and very, very clearly, it tore him up. Like, just it did a lot of internal damage in his brain and his emotional side for his brother dying. But, solid chapter. It wasn't as, like, there wasn't as much, I think, overall to talk about for the large scope of the chapter. For the most part, like, my takes were on just kind of, like, the events going on with Morris, and then, like, Lilith and Nama just in general, not even, like, the fight itself, but more of the scope of how things are and really where they need to put their focus, and just Nacht's character in general, and how he's going to kind of perform in this whole setup. Because we know that he's seemingly going to lose, but, like, how do the events after where we saw him all strung up with those ice spikes and stuff, is he going to, where is he going after? Is it going to be revealed that's a fake Nacht? Is somebody going to show up and help him? What? That's the bigger question for me now. Whereas, like, between now and then, getting his backstory and just seeing how, like, he's actually, like, laying out this plan. Because I don't believe that he's just, I'm going to pull these guys away and then just kind of, like, stall them. I think that he has a bigger picture kind of, like, schemed up. Even if it's, like, an extra step, like I said, where he's setting something up with, for Morris. Like, legit, like, I think the easiest one for me, again, is that he is doing, the whole setup with them, but he ends up sending one of his devils to go and tell the other people, go for Morris. That alone is such an easy additional step that would make his strategy so much better, in my opinion. But anyway, other than that, though, comment below, tell me your thoughts about this chapter. I'm sure Nacht fans are really hyped up to see the backstory for him. I know I am, and I really want to see, just in general, how things move forward for the next couple chapters. Because, again, we're in some really odd territories. Characters are still showing up, and obviously this being before Noelle and them show up, like, nobody is going to come and aid Nacht, at least until the point where he loses the fight, and he's like all crucified up with ice spikes and stuff, and like Asa's group and stuff isn't there. All the other groups are busy. We know Fuego Leon isn't going to show up because Fuego is outside, so we'll see exactly how it goes. Anyway, other than that, comment below, thumbs up the video, friend, like button, subscribe button, and check out my other videos. But other than that, I appreciate everybody's already subscribed, and thank you all for listening. Bye.